see someone from mechanical engineering. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Ilgın hocam.
Anılcım hay.
Zeynep. Nasıl gidiyor?
Efendim?
Nasıl gidiyor?
Her şey yolunda, sen nasılsın? Bakü nasıl?
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Çok kolay gelsin.
Peki, teşekkür ederim. Ilgın teaches at the Division of Basic English in Ankara.
Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to the 21st session of METU FLE ELT Talks. My name is Sanem and I will be your moderator for today's session. And it's a pleasure to see you all again after a long summer break, and I hope you all had a great summer. We're glad to have you here for this new session. First of all, it's an honor to welcome our speaker, lecturer Anıl Albağlar from Middle East Technical University. Anıl Hocam, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Anıl Albağlar has been a lecturer at METU's Division of Full-Time Basic English since 2010. He also taught Turkish at the University of Utah in the 2014 and 2015 academic year as part of the Fulbright FLTA program. He had a BA in ELT from Süleyman Demirel University and an MA in Foreign Language Education from METU, where he focused on pronunciation. He has been a professional voice actor for over a decade. He's also the author and narrator of his own podcast series. And now he shares content for English learners on social media under the name Listen Up by Anıl. Currently, Anıl Hoca is in Baku, and where he is serving as an instructor and the Self-Access Center coordinator at the newly established Türkiye-Azerbaijan University. We're grateful to have you with us. Thank you again, Anıl Hocam, and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is too much for me. All that intro. Oh my God. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. Should I start right away, or are we gonna wait a few minutes to make sure we have everyone who's intending to be here tonight? Is that wait?
Maybe we can wait for a few minutes, okay?
All right, I'll give it a couple minutes. I'll just say hi to everyone. Thank you so much again for the nice intro. Sanem Hocam, thank you so much. Like she said, I'm in Baku. I'm 1 hour ahead of you. We have this new university here, Türkiye-Azerbaijan University. Big deal. Apparently, I found that out after I got here with a couple of friends of mine, with a few friends of mine from METU. We're teaching English. We're doing what we would normally do at METU in Ankara, here for a semester or 2 semesters, depending on what we feel like, to be honest. We'll see. It's going well. Good students, really good students. The best in the city, in the country, to be fair. They are very, very eager. And as far as being responsible students goes, they are. I don't be mad. METU people, don't be mad. These people are good here. They're so on task all the time, and they keep asking questions, which is why I'm always behind schedule. I'm always behind program. But it's fun, you know. I'm teaching a 401 intermediate level this semester, and I'm having a lot of fun. But I'll be back soon on campus. I'm guessing in the spring. We will see about that. All right, that was a good decision waiting. Now we have about 10 more. Is Chomsky coming tonight? Funny story about that. I did email Noam Chomsky 12 years ago, 12 years ago, about something. Pronunciation related, like segmentation, and like it's like syntax/pronunciation thing. I emailed him. His secretary, his assistant rather, got back to me. She was like, Professor Chomsky is not in his office these days. He's gonna be back in about 2 weeks, and I will make sure to give him your message. I was like, thank you so much. And I didn't expect any answer whatsoever. 2 weeks later, I get an email from Noam Chomsky, guys. He says, I asked him a question, and his answer was, these are interesting points that you're raising, interesting issues that you're raising, but I'm afraid it's nothing that I'm really interested in, something like that. Nothing that I'm good at, or not good at, but nothing that I'm like he said something along the lines of, I don't really know this stuff, because it was about pronunciation mostly. Yeah. And the moral of the story, the bottom line is, I know something Chomsky doesn't. And that felt pretty darn good. We have 61 people. Also, little reminder to the team, are we going to record this? I'm okay with it, personally.
So if everyone is okay, we can do that for the participants who couldn't make it to the session. Yes. So let's get recording on Zoom. We already have it on our database. Thank you, Joe.
Should I get started?
Recording in progress.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Anıl. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just get right to it. Okay, here we go. I have to say I felt pretty proud of myself when I came up with the title for this presentation. I thought we had 4 skills. I thought it was humorous. It was realistic. I'll try and live up to the title. I just want to, you know what I want to do? I want to talk about the fact that speaking and related skills are being neglected. But before that, why don't we just say hi, how are you a little bit to one another, and talk about the elections. The US elections, okay? These are the questions. I'm gonna send you off to breakout rooms in a second, and I will give you 5 minutes, okay? And I will share this screen again once you are in the breakout rooms. All right, so you will see the questions on the screen. So I'm gonna go ahead, stop sharing for a second, send you off to breakout rooms. All right? And I can't do that because I'm not the host.
Now you are, Hocam.
Now I am. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Okay. All right, 2-3 people in each room. Perfect. Just say, I'm sure there are a lot of people here who don't know each other, right? Say hi, how are you, who are you? And then talk about the elections a little bit. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Have fun.
Hello.
Hi.
So US elections. Did you follow?
I can't say I did.
Me
But
neither can I.
Yeah, me neither. Not really. I was never into politics at all.
Exactly.
No. But I know that Trump won, I guess.
Yes, he did.
I think it's a shame for US.
Excuse me? I couldn't follow up. Can you repeat it one more time?
I said I think it's a shame that he won again for
Oh.
US. And I don't know how it would affect us.
I feel like they're all the same, so.
I mean, yeah, as politicians. Yeah.
So, what do you think? Ziki, right?
Sorry?
Excuse me?
What do you think about the elections, the results of it, I mean?
Well, I only know that Trump won the elections, and I probably saw it coming that Trump was gonna win. But other
Yes,
than
yeah.
that, I'm not really interested in it.
Yeah, so we're all on the same page.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about something else then. You're studying in the METU.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a graduate.
You're a graduate, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a third year student at the IGS University. It's a pleasure to meet you guys.
Same,
Oh,
likewise.
nice to meet you too. Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't open my camera. I'm not in the proper situation for that right now.
That's okay. If I was also joining, like if I was not the host, I wouldn't turn on my camera either.
Mhm.
No.
How about you, Zika?
I'm also a third year student in our
Oh, good.
school, yeah. I'm studying, I'm not a graduate.
Mhm.
And today is the start of our project, FLE
Oh.
ELT Talks. Yeah, I kind of missed it actually.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a repeating process, right? You do it all each year.
I think it started a year ago. Like we
Mhm.
continued for a year, and then there was this summer break, and now we're
Mhm.
back with it.
I think it was exactly a year ago that we started again, but I think before that there were stuff going on already. Like they stopped for a bit, and then I think back to they wanted to revive it again.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, is this your first time attending?
Yeah, I was
Joining
about
the
to say
session?
that. It's my first time hearing about this project, and I was really curious.
How did you hear it?
I'm sorry?
How did you hear it?
From the Instagram page,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and also within our club,
Hmm.
our school ELT, let's say.
Yeah, that's great.
That's very good.
Yeah, I don't know what else to add actually.
What else we what?
What else to add about
What
the
else to add? Yeah, about elections, I don't have anything to say, apparently, but it's nice to have you here today. I'm glad also I'm in the social media team. And it's nice that like what we're doing actually works.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, people learn it through social media. Yeah. So what are your plans? When will you be graduating?
In 2 years?
In 2 years.
All those questions are from me, or?
Yeah, to you. Yeah, I already know though, huh?
Okay, okay then. In 2 years, I mean next year, hopefully. I have a lot of plans going on, but and I already started doing some schedules, like for the planned years coming up. I'm excited.
By the way, if you excuse me, I have to share a story. Like we have started kinda. So you guys talk. I'll be back.
All right. So what are your plans after the graduation?
My plan is like I probably want to be an academician in our own school.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this exam I need to take called
ALES?
what? Yeah, ALES. Sorry, yeah, it's
Mhm.
ALES. I actually started studying for it, but
Mhm.
not adequately. So yeah, I don't really want to be a teacher, like a usual teacher, but university fits more for me.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same for me as well. You know, I started doing some research about the master's degree, and I'm planning to attend the ALES exam. And for also, I want to do the master's degree in the
That's very nice. Good luck with it.
yeah, in a foreign country. But I started studying,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll take the exam on next Sunday,
Oh, really?
November 17th. In the November 17th, yeah.
Oh, wow. Good luck.
You're planning to take it?
Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. What you just did was... Okay, I muted someone. What you just did, you said, hi, how are you? You got to know each other maybe a little better, and then you talked about the elections in the US, which has nothing to do with what we're about to do today, what we're about to talk about. Although that's not completely correct, because what I actually tried to show you here is when you get together in the morning with your class, you know, it's the first hour of the day, it's always a good idea to do something like this, okay? Have them warm up a little bit, have them say hi to each other, and I will give you, in the presentation here, I will show you what I mean exactly in a second, excuse me. That's something I like to do, and throughout the presentation I will try to give you examples like this, okay? Now, let's move on. We have a problem on our hands. I'm just trying to put you guys, okay, here, up here. All right, so speaking skills are being neglected. Why? There are a lot of things people say, and I also have some of these problems. We don't have enough time. We have all kinds of other stuff that we have to deal with. We have the reading and the writing, all kinds of vocab and grammar. There's the listening skills. It's so hard to find time for speaking skills. I mean, you know, pronunciation, intonation, chunking, all that stuff, let alone just speaking practice, right? So it's because of the syllabus, and maybe people feel that it's fake, unnatural. Maybe they see that their students think that it's fake. Maybe their students think that they're doing things just because it's in the textbook and just because the teacher said so. Maybe that pushes you away from doing the little speaking bits in the textbook. I'm just trying to make you think right now a little bit, okay? Maybe you think that it's a waste of time doing free practice, for your students to do free practice if there's no feedback. You know, they're just talking to each other in class. Okay, so what? I didn't even correct their mistakes. They're still speaking Tarzanic. Maybe you're thinking that way. Maybe you think that it's too much work to listen in as they speak. And then, you know, you take notes and then you will give them feedback. Maybe that's too hard for you. Walking around, I have 20 people in my class. How can I walk around, take notes, and then give feedback? Like, how can I do that for every single person? Right? And then maybe, again, you think it's a waste of time to do an occasional presentation in class. They give a presentation, they get ready, you give them like a week's notice. They do a little presentation, you take notes, you give them feedback on their pronunciation, their eye contact, their body language, their content, you know? Do you think that that's a waste of time? Maybe you do. And in the case of METU, for instance, and METU is not the only institution with this problem, there is no speaking content, no speaking component to the proficiency exam. And maybe that's why teachers kind of neglect, kind of ignore the speaking bits sometimes in class. Right? That could be the case. All kinds of ideas came to my mind when I thought about the reason. If there's anything you'd like to add, the chat box is yours. Go ahead. I'm going to take a look. Okay? So, what to do? I'm just going to jump right into it. Now, I'd like to remind at this very moment here that I am not here tonight to tell you what to do. You know, I'm just going to share some of the things that I do. And then maybe it'll be kind of an eye-opener, maybe. It'll be like a little wake-up call, because after some time, because I've been doing this for 15 years now, and I sometimes find myself kind of losing my touch as far as putting in the prep time before class. And when that happens, you just do the textbook. You don't do anything else. And then if you neglect the speaking a little bit, you find yourself just going through the tasks, reading, grammar, blah, blah, blah, and then fill in the blanks. Okay, check with your friend. Like, that's your interaction that day. Check your answers with your friends, and you think that you've done a great job having your students talk to each other. You know, so I don't want this to be a one-way street here tonight, please give me your ideas. Give me some ideas, okay? Let everybody here take advantage of what everyone knows, all right? Now, first of all, sorry, I'm going to stay here. I think that it's very important that you set certain routines and habits at the very beginning of the semester, right? Because if you start doing things after some time, out of the blue, it'll feel weird. I've been there a few times in my career. That will feel weird. You gotta make sure that this feels very natural from the beginning of the semester, all right? So your students will know that this is something that we do, okay? This is why I come to class for. We do this all the time. It's good for me. It's natural, okay? That feeling is very important. Now, we gotta make time. That's probably the biggest point I'll make here tonight. You gotta make time somehow. What I do, and there might be a lot of people who criticize me for this. I don't know if you ever heard of flipped classroom, but that's what I do. I flip it, okay? If there's, whenever I can, of course, it's not always possible, but I try and steal off the reading and the grammar and whatever, and I try to allocate that time to some speaking activities. Because guess what? You can't flip speaking. As soon as your students leave their classroom, whether they hang out with their friends or they go straight home or they go shopping or whatever, they're going to be speaking their native tongue out there, right? Which is normal. You can't criticize anybody for that. So where else are they going to speak the language? They're going to speak it in the class. That's why I think we should just make time somehow. Now, what I usually flip is some parts of the textbook. If there's a long exercise, I sometimes do some of it. It's usually reading and grammar, by the way, to be honest. And then the rest, okay, just do the rest at home because I can steal like 3 to 5 minutes from there, okay? Certain reading material, sometimes just all of it. Because I look at the material, there's this text, and then there's 5 questions about it, reading comprehension. They can do that at home. That's okay, not all of it, by the way. You know, sometimes, just like every other week. That's what I do. And I do the same with grammar material. You know, we have at DBE, at METU, we have these beautifully written grammar handouts. And the same goes for reading handouts and writing handouts and listening handouts. So let's take the grammar material here for a second. Just very well prepared handout. It explains every single point according to based on the level of the students, right? So they can wrestle with that, if you will, at home by themselves. Use a dictionary, do whatever you want, just do it. And then come to class and we'll go over it, of course. I'm not going to leave you alone with the grammar material. I want to be able to help you out. We'll just go over it in class as needed. So what I've done here is maybe that grammar material would take 2 hours in class, but possibly right now it'll take me 1 hour. Okay, so I've stolen 1 hour off that grammar material, and now I don't have an excuse to say I don't have time for speaking. When I come to class, I gotta jump into the material, start with the grammar, whatever. Now I can't say that now because now I have that extra time. Okay, so I can be patient. With the lower levels, a teacher's job is to be patient. And it's really hard sometimes. You know, the simplest things, sentences, come out of their mouths in like 20 seconds. 20 seconds is a very long time when you're waiting for someone to speak, right? Yeah. So that's something that I wanted to touch upon once again. I want to show you this. Make time, okay? To sum up what I have here, I think that we should make time for speaking. Now, as you do that, I think authenticity is very important. Having them speak just for the sake of speaking is not always fun. What I've done with you at the beginning of this session here, I used real-life context. I asked you to say hi to each other, which is what you do every single day of your lives. And I do that regularly with my class every Monday morning. I give them 5 minutes to say hi to each other and then talk about their weekend. I do that. I don't even speak. I walk into class. You know, a normal teacher would a normal teacher would walk into class and be like, "Hey guys, how's it going? How was the weekend? Yeah, okay, did you get some breakfast? Blah blah." I walk into class and I'm like, "Hey guys, what's up? Let's wake up. All right, turn to your friend, talk about the weekend. Let's go. Let's warm up. Let's wake up a little bit." Like, you know, I just give them some energy like that. I give them 5 minutes, they talk. That's just real life context, okay? Now, lots of examples here. Classroom language. The guy wants to go to the bathroom. He's like, "Hocam tuvalete gid." Come on. You gotta set these standards at the beginning of the semester, okay? You say, "May I go out?" All right? Because that's a great little opportunity for you to practice that, especially at the lower levels, right? "May I go out? Can I go out for a few minutes?" Or other stuff, you know, all the classroom language. Monday morning, I do this. Friday afternoon, ask them what they're doing on the weekend. You know, what are you going to do over the weekend? Talk to your friend. You have 3 minutes. Okay? All these little things, this is real life context. And almost every, I don't want to lie to you, almost every kind of, you know, practice, like blank filling activity, there's reading comprehension, there's questions about it. When you're done, check with your friend. Talk to your friend and make sure you do it in English. You know, when all of this is happening, there's a lot of monitoring, of course. I walk around the class. If I hear some Azerbaijani over here, I just tell them to switch, and they do, you know. And I haven't really had any problems with that, to be honest, just a couple times, yeah. I'm teaching a 401, by the way. I'm teaching intermediate level, so they can speak English pretty well, to be honest, so I'm okay. With the lower levels, it'll be a bigger challenge, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do, right? You got to set the standards at the beginning of the semester. So, compare your answers with your friend, because I don't know if I'm wrong, correct me. I think that research suggests that students learn more efficiently if they learn from a peer as opposed to learning from a teacher. It sticks with them, they say, and move them around. Montessori, baby. Just get up. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Why don't we all get up, talk to at least 2 different people about your weekend, right? You observe, you watch. If there's someone talking to the same 2 people all the time, you just push them away. Go, talk to someone else, right? You do that. They walk around. They're standing. A student is not someone who sits all the time. I hate that, right? They get sleepy, which is normal. So, you know, have them get up, have them move around. Yeah. These are the little things, real things I do. And speaking of authenticity again, now, there are a lot of things in the textbooks, right? Speaking sections. I'll be honest with you. The textbooks are doing a great job, I think. The high notes, the English files, the speak outs, all of these are doing their best to have the students speak, right? But I'm saying we can add a little twist, a little more fun. It'll take time. It's not going to be easy. There's some planning there. There's some material prep. But, like I said, textbooks are great. But when the time comes, there are some really cool things to do. And I've been doing these for God knows how many years. Okay, here's an example. Let's say in the book you have polite requests, right? Like, could I have the chicken salad, please? Like ordering food at a restaurant, right? And the textbook will 100% give you some kind of context. There's going to be a menu from a restaurant in London, which your kids can't relate to, right? So I'm saying, why not? You probably have like WhatsApp groups with your students, probably. Why not send them, this is what I do. I send them the link to a menu of an Ankara restaurant, a local restaurant, something they can relate to, not a super expensive one, okay? And then I ask them to use that menu to order their food and drinks. Now they talk about the prices. They're like, oh, I've been there. Oh, let's not. Oh my God, are we really going to this one? Hocam, this one sucks. I've been there. Like, they can actually relate to it. Another example, suggestions, agreeing, disagreeing, like stuff like, why don't we go out tonight? Or let's go to a Kenan Doğulu concert. I'm not sure. You really want to go to a concert tonight? Like that kind of language. Biletix. I just send them the link to Biletix or maybe a QR code or whatever. Now, when you do these things, they're using their annoying phones for something good for once, right? They have their cell phones in their hands and they're using it for class-related purposes. And that's great. I'm just going to pause for a second, look at the chat box, because I'm seeing things. Okay, all right, I'll get to that. Meltem hocam, you're right, of course. But you gotta make time, okay? You're gonna make time. Zeynep says, hocam, I think Turkish people over-criticize our pronunciation while speaking. Let them. So what? Just keep talking. And if you keep talking, if you keep working on your craft, your pronunciation will get better. Your intonation will get better. Don't worry about it. People will criticize you all the time. Don't worry about that. You will be criticized. So what? And in class, by the way, in my classes, I know most people would say, do not laugh at your friend's mistakes. And I agree with them, of course. But sometimes we laugh together, and I love that. I love being able to laugh each other's errors, whether it be grammar, it's something very simple, like at an intermediate level. It's almost like an elementary kind of mistake, and somebody messes up, and people laugh, and then she laughs, and you know what I mean? Like this happened a few times, I remember, this semester, and with pronunciation as well. I like that. I like being able to laugh, but of course there's a balance to it. Sure. Now, making the material more fun for them. Now, this is not going to mean anything to you. This is something I like to do when, let me actually, hold up. I'm going to show you something else here. This is from the textbook. Here we go. This is the textbook we're using. This is High Note 3 that we're using for the intermediate level. And this is last week. Last week, we had a job interview thing. This guy was not looking all that ready, looks real sloppy. The girl, she said all the right things. She looked more professional, she wasn't late, blah, blah, blah. And then all the key language, let me zoom in here for you. Here's all the key language. So what we did down here, we watched a video, both of them, the interview. We go up here, there's the speaking box. With the words from the box, they fill in the blank here. And then I've given them the key language, right? And in the end, after all the pronunciation bits and everything, which I did, by the way, because especially this year, I'm in Baku. These guys, mother tongue is not Turkish, right? Turkey. So I don't know which sounds are problematic for them. So I try and focus on every single thing just to make sure. And then I do all that at the end of this page. Look, a role play, a job interview, which is fine. Like I said, the books are doing a great job in that sense. But what I do is just a little twist. I ask half of the class to establish their own company, or you can just be an existing company. You can be Nike, you can be Adidas, whatever, and the other half will be interviewed by them. They have so much fun, and then in the end, they decide if that person gets the job or not, and then you interview at least 2 people. When you're done, you switch roles. Now you have your companies, you will interview the rest of the class, at least 2 people. Who's going to get the job, blah, blah, blah. Some people are like, hocam, I got 3 jobs in the end. These are the little things that kind of, what you're doing when you do these things, what you're doing is you're localizing the content for them, you know. It's more relatable, it's more fun, just some ideas that you might want to try out, okay? All right, so this is it. Looking at the chat box again. Dostlar Kıraathanesi would be a good one, yes. Sure, hocam, I'll make time. You made some great suggestions. Hey, thank you. All right, so a couple more things to do here, just general things to do. This is something I love to do. It is so much fun making them teachers, just for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. There's this task, blank filling task, and I'm like, Aydan, why don't you, probably a low achiever, probably a shy one, right? Why don't you come to the board, just be the teacher for a second, I'm kind of tired. Just get the answers from your friends, right? And then it's so amazing to see they become you. You know how they say your classes reflect you, your students? You see that. They pretend to be you. They're like, number one, Ahmet, contribute. Everyone? Everyone? Like, that's what I do. I never just say correct, good job. I always ask everyone else, do you agree? Do you agree? And they do the same thing. It's amazing. They do that, you know, it's just peer-to-peer interaction. I'm not doing anything. Decreases your teacher talking time. You have given a low achiever a role. It's so easy to do these things. And you're not losing time at all. You know, if you're losing a minute, if anything, maybe the student will be a little slower than you. I do that at least once or twice a week. I do that. And of course, they peer check after activities to compare answers. Again, there is no teacher talking time there. You just let your students compare their answers, learn from each other. And it's a beautiful thing if they are doing it in English, of course. Do a book club, conversation club, whatever. Shout out to the Foreign Language Education Department of METU here. We have this community service program where we have English language teaching majors come in and do conversation clubs, one-on-one group sessions, and even peer-to-peer teaching sessions. We're so grateful to have them. They can talk about anything there, right? Things that are relatable. Talk about gaming, social media. This is what these people are into, right? These are outside class activities like the book club and the conversation club. You know, whenever you have the chance, do stuff like that. Every week, 1 hour. Why not? Okay, because this is not class. That's the beauty of this. Talking about a book you read, or maybe just a chapter, maybe a TV show. Maybe you watched one episode of How I Met Your Mother, and now you're talking about it. Everybody watched it. 4 people, 5 people, 10 people, whatever. Conversation clubs, debates. This can be in class as well. You give them the key language. You have a little debate. These are just reminders that maybe you're kind of slacking on as a teacher. You know, just a little wake-up call. Acting. About acting, I did teach listening and pronunciation at the Department of Foreign Language Education a couple times. And this was so much fun there, and it's also fun in my classes at the Department of Basic English, the prep school. A couple times I've done Troy here. So you know Hector and Achilles, right? Hector and Achilles. That's 2 characters. You give them, this is so much fun to watch, guys. You give them the dialogue. There's Hector and Achilles, 2 people. So you say, okay, you're with him, you're with her, him. Good. Everybody has a partner. Perfect. You have 1 week. You give them a week's notice. Prepare, okay? Work on the pronunciation and everything. And then you model it one time. Here, I'll become a soldier. There you go. Trojan soldier. You just do it in class like, I've witnessed this moment in my dreams. I'll make a pact with you. With the gods as our witnesses, let us pledge that the winner will allow the loser all the proper funeral rituals. And then Brad Pitt goes, there are no pacts between lions and men. Now you know who you're fighting. And then Hector is, I thought it was you I was fighting yesterday, and I wish it had been you. But I gave the dead boy the honor he deserved. You gave him the honor of your sword. You'll have no eyes tonight. You won't have ears or a tongue. You will wander in the underworld, blind, deaf, and dumb, and all the dead will know. This is Hector, the fool who thought he killed Achilles. You do it like this, super into it, right? And then they're like, if the teacher is doing it, looking ridiculous as hell, why can't I do it, right? This is an almost 40-year-old guy acting out in front of me. Come on, I can do it too. You just give them some time, they act it out in front of the class, it's beautiful. Or it can be like a video homework. Record yourself with your friend, send it to me, I'll give you some feedback, you know. So good. And then you can do like a watch and talk kind of thing. You watch something together, you talk about it, which we did this week with The Office. And I wanted to show you something here tonight, but it's sharing the screen is a problem, you know, the copyright issues, they won't let you share your screen, blah, blah, blah. But we watch maybe just a scene or a full episode, 20 minutes, I don't care. I've already stolen from the reading handout, you know what I mean? And then I have questions prepared, of course. Maybe I ask them questions in between the episode, like as we watch, I just pause, ask them a question about a particular scene, or I just, I don't have to wear this, I just give them some questions, a couple questions after we're done watching, okay? And finally, you have to stay up to date because they come with all kinds of questions. Hocam, there is this app, that app. How can I use them? Can I improve my speaking? Can I practice speaking? There's ChatGPT. I think it has a chat bot. But they just come to you with questions, and they're right to do so. I, for example, have been suggesting everyone that they can use Praktika. It's really affordable. It's like 167 liras a month if you get a year subscription. And its chatbots are powered by ChatGPT. You know, it's never going to be like a person, like a human, but it's a good one. And I think that as teachers, we have to stay up to date. We have to know how to make a Kahoot quiz, you know, a competitive environment, create a competitive environment in your class, and come with recommendations as to platforms and apps like Praktika or Memrise, or they all have their chatbots now. And I think that we as teachers need to know which one is good. When they come ask us, I just don't like to say, and I said it a couple times, I felt bad, I don't like to answer, oh, I'm sorry, I don't really know. I never really tried. I don't know, I felt very bad when I said that a couple times, and I was like, okay, you know what, I gotta get into this. And I studied everything, and I think Praktika is the best right now. It's although, you know, it's not supernatural, but it's not bad at all, Praktika. Okay, now, I have talked so much about pronunciation and intonation and chunking, so much that I'm sick of it now. And I can talk about this all day, all night. Do you have time? I have class at 8:40 in the morning. I can just, I will never shut up when I start talking about pronunciation, because I just can't believe that it is something that is still being neglected. All right? Now we'll talk about this. I've already given you some spoilers, but why don't I shut up for a second, and I'm gonna share my screen again, okay? I want you to discuss your answers to these questions. All right? Breakout rooms coming in a second. All right, go nuts. I'm giving you 5 minutes again. All right? Sharing my screen.
Işıl hocam, hi.
Selam.
How are you hocam?
Thank you. I'm fine, and you? It's great, actually. Yeah, I missed the first part, maybe 5 minutes or so, but that's really great. Yeah, I think you're a practicum student, right? You're the fourth year?
No, hocam.
No,
I'm in my third year.
fourth year. Okay. So, have you ever taught?
Yeah,
Did
in
you?
community service hocam maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Okay, let's just take turns answering that. Do you think you touch upon these enough in class? Well, first maybe I could just talk.
Sure
So,
hocam.
yeah. mm, Honestly speaking, I don't think I have enough emphasis, yeah, on these things. So maybe in my methodology classes, yeah, I just actually we talked about it. Yeah, but when I was teaching actually as a teacher educator, in approaches, methods, and other classes, methodology classes, yeah, we talk about it. But I don't think that's enough emphasis.
Uh,
I feel confident about them. Yeah, to some extent, yeah. But it is not these are not the areas, I'm just focusing on mostly. So, but it is really necessary. But as much as possible, I'd like to. I just try to incorporate materials, authentic materials, and the multimedia, just to kind of and to draw their attention actually to this chunking and pronunciation. And this year I'm just teaching this word Englishes and culture course. Yeah, in that course we just kind of touched upon this pronunciation and the dialects, etc. Yeah. How about you?
hocam, well, as a student that has taken your course before, I agree with what you said. And the only like place I taught it was in community service, and we went on like they asked me for a specific subject, and I accordingly gave the lesson. It was all separate, like pronunciation, reading, grammar, etc. And I couldn't really touch upon pronunciation or intonation because I myself don't find it. I don't find myself good at pronunciation that much, and I don't really use intonation. I mean, I can't, and I'm not really confident about them either because I'm not really good at them. But I really believe it's necessary because, well, for example, when a teacher's intonation is good, like it kind of keeps me engaged in the lesson. Otherwise, I can't really focus.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, in sustaining the attention. Yes, if we all talk with a monotonous voice and with no changes from the beginning till the end.
Yes,
Yes,
hocam.
so we lose track of.
Yeah, exactly, hocam.
Yeah. I was wondering if you had any emphasis on this in your first year. I mean, pronunciation, this intonation, or chunking. Did you just, have any instruction on that?
No, in my first year, hocam,
Yeah.
I think there was this listening and pronunciation course. Yeah, we were just role playing, and the teacher let us pick three of. I think one was an role play activity, other one was singing, and other one was delivering a news. Yeah, and I picked delivering news because I found it easier, and it was good actually.
Okay, maybe we need to have more of these.
Yes, hocam,
actually.
definitely because we don't have much. The only thing that came to my mind was that course. Other
Yeah,
than that,
really.
sorry hocam.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thank you,
Yeah,
hocam.
maybe in the methodology classes we need to kind of
Recording in progress.
Almost everyone. All right. Cool. Welcome back, everyone. Now, I want to hear a couple people. You can just turn on your microphone, talk to me. When was the last time you taught some pronunciation in class? Do you not do it at all? Would you say that it's really unnecessary? Yes, Sizin. I'm all ears.
Hocam, I'm a recent graduate and currently I'm giving private courses and I'm at a very loud environment, so I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you very well.
But when I try to correct my students and their pronunciations, I feel shy because I'm scared. I'm scared that they're gonna be conscious and they're gonna be afraid. I think it depends on the student's characteristics, but I don't feel confident about touching upon the pronunciation part. I really like the phonetic alphabet and teaching it, and I tried that, and it was very fun. And it's really necessary. Not the phonetic alphabet, but the pronunciation is really necessary. But I'm not very confident in it. I don't know why. Maybe it's experience and it's trial.
And it does depend on what is going on at that moment, right? You don't always correct people. I mean, that's another issue, error correction, when to correct people and when to wait. But a lot of times, in my class, a lot of times it's just free practice when I ask them to do, how was the weekend? What are you doing this weekend? All that stuff. A lot of times it's free practice. But sometimes I do walk around, I hear things. Sometimes I wait until the end. Sometimes I just lean in. But Sizin, that's usually, in my experience, and people, please chime in on this, in my experience, that's all about the rapport you have from the very beginning of the semester. That does matter a lot. But of course, what also matters is what kind of activity you're doing. Like, your student is so motivated to get to the end of that sentence, and then in the middle, right in the middle, you interrupt them to correct a pronunciation mistake. That's not something you want to do, right? You just got to be careful with these little things. But like I said, pronunciation feedback should be given. I mean, what are you gonna do? Wait for the break and then ask for the student to come with me for a second. Let me talk to you here, during the break. And you said develop, but it's develop. Okay, go now. Break time. I don't think I don't know. It's just kind of unnatural to me. I think I saw another hand raised.
It was me, hocam.
Oh, okay. Who?
Should I speak, hocam, or should... Are you going to...
go ahead. Speak up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hocam. I'm a third year student, but I have taught before. But usually, now I'm going to talk about my experience teaching French, though. It's a bit of a different experience, but let's say in the context of foreign language teaching and education, I always paid a lot of attention because when I received my formal French education, our instructors were very strict on it, and I feel like it affected me as well. But at the same time, I understand that obviously there's this difference between the speakers of French and English in number, because we obviously have a lot more non-native speakers of English than the French ones, for example, right? Mm-hmm. So that is why, according to that, we have to adjust the things. But whenever I start teaching the very introductory French course, I had to use, I always referred to the formal pronunciation rules of French to guide them, because without it, probably a lot of people know that French is not so phonetic. It's might be worse than English, but I think it's much better than English in terms of pronunciation. It's much easier, but I feel like, yes, a lot of attention should be paid, but to an extent that the student shouldn't feel demotivated afterwards.
I understand, and especially with a language like French, the orthography and phoneme correspondence is incredibly low. You know where you messed up? You picked up French. Good luck with that. beautiful language, of course. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. But yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, if it's French, yeah, the pronunciation is gonna be a kind of a bigger challenge. You know, but for Turkish people, pronunciation in English and understanding the nature of the English sounds is always gonna be a challenge as well. Not gonna be as difficult as French maybe, with the r and everything. Cool. There's one more. Yes, Adil.
Hi, Hocam. First of all, I'd like to thank you for such a fruitful conference. Hocam, I'm a reading and writing teacher at a secondary school.
Okay.
And the way I do pronunciation with my students is we sometimes have a bit of fun with the soundboard, the phonetic soundboard.
Nice.
Especially with the diphthongs like ow, wa, I sounds. And especially some alphabets that aren't in Turkish, like I could say the Peltek sounds, like the th and the z sounds, because these sounds are quite popular in English. That's one thing we do. Like you said, Hocam, the way I correct their pronunciation is I wait for them to finish off their sentence, and at the end, I may ask a student to help their friends. So it's like a friendly. What can I say? So it's their friends helping them out.
It's basically peer. Yeah, it's basically peer feedback, peer correction. Yeah, beautiful.
Correction, great. And other than that, if the students cannot help, I sometimes tell them the correct pronunciation about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the way we do it, Hocam.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That reminds me of something. Sometimes I thank someone for their mistake. Of course, I don't say, thank you for messing that up like that. I don't say it that way, but oh, you said recognize. Oh, that reminds me. Everybody, this is a commonly mispronounced word. Like, thank you so much. It's recognize, okay? Put that stress at the very beginning. Recognize, like, I think is a good way of doing it. And you can just disagree with me right now, but I'm gonna keep doing this, for example, the way I have been doing it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Adil Hocam. Okay, one final person and I'll move on, okay? Elif İrem Çolak.
Yeah, hi Anıl Hocam. I'm an English teacher in Kayseri at a high school. I have prep class students. It was a really joy for me actually to experience this. And my lessons are focused on especially speaking and listening skills. And I want to share my experience actually. Yeah, I can honestly say I feel confident about pronunciation and intonation part because as a self-criticism in Turkish teachers among ourselves, we just focus more on accuracy, I think. Personally, I try to focus on more fluency on my students. Even if they make mistakes, I can, accept, we can understand it, let's go on. I can give reactions like that. If they do common mistakes together, I just warn them, let's do the correct version. I think it's necessary to accept little mistakes or ignore them. It's my experience. I want to share that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is going to help me transition to what I want to say. Of course, we're going to ignore a lot of mistakes depending on the nature of the task at hand. But what I'm trying to say when it comes to teaching pronunciation is, although you ignore a lot of mistakes because you don't want to disrupt communication or whatever, why don't we, as we go, also teach pronunciation? That is something that is hugely neglected, I think. A lot of people think it's arbitrary. There's the world Englishes. Communication is what matters. We don't have to speak like an American, like English. That's not what I'm saying. That's never what I said. But I don't think it's something arbitrary. It causes misunderstandings. There are studies out there that suggest speaking with a clear accent actually makes you more listenable. People pay more attention to what you say. They respect you more. They even listen to you more attentively, So I think that there are lots of opportunities from the beginning, from the very beginner classes that you have. The first day of school, the first day of class, you teach hello. Why don't we teach that diphthong? It's a very non-Turkish sound, for example. Look, guys, English people, American people, they do this. Oh, hello. And then they say it with you. Day one, they know sounds are also important. Okay, I'm going to speak a different language. I'm going to move a little differently. Give them that message, right? That's what I'm saying. I have a lot of examples here for you now. Look at this. He, his, him, her, pronouns, and possessive adjective, pronoun, whatever. All of these, this is beginner level, right? The first few weeks of school at the lowest level, you got to teach them the weak forms. Because if you're not, you know delta, right? You know delta. In any teaching practice, like, when your class is observed in a program like that, delta, in a curriculum like that, you fail to teach this stuff, you just fail that class. They ask you to do it again. If you're teaching present continuous and you fail, when I fail, I mean if you just don't teach the pronunciation of ing, you fail. That means you just didn't teach present continuous completely. That's what it means. This isn't a comment. That's what they do. Okay? So all of these words, the h is just dropped. You say, I'll go talk to her. I never saw him today. It's his job. Of course he's going to do it. It's his job. Or what does he do? The h is gone with these. It's weak forms, right? More examples. I can just talk about this all night. Like I said, I'm gonna try and finish very soon. What if I told you, now this is exactly how I do it with my students. What if I told you guys the pronunciation of do and are the same? These words are pronounced the same. What would you tell me? Sometimes they go, Hocam, are you crazy? No, you're joking. I think it's a word play. No, look at this. Same exact pronunciation. Do and are. And this is how native speakers talk. And then at the end of the day, they say things like, I don't understand when native speakers talk. Hocam yutuyorlar. Right? No, they are not. This is how the English language is supposed to be spoken. What are you doing? What do you think? What are you doing? What do you think? What do you think you're doing? Right? What do you think? So are and do here are pronounced the same. Just the schwa sound, and then maybe this is your intro to the schwa sound, the phonetic alphabet, maybe, use it however you like, but, just a great example of how English language is different from Turkish, per se, right? If you're teaching noun clauses, this is from today, by the way. I normally teach intermediate 201, but today in the afternoon I did a little extra with the elementary class 201, and I learned from their teacher that they just done noun clauses. And I said, okay, I'll do a little practice with them with the noun clauses. And when I did, I drew their attention to the weak form of that. You can't when you teach, it's 5 seconds, guys. You're teaching noun clauses. It'll just take you 5 to 10 seconds to say, guys, by the way, native speakers, they don't say that. Usually, not every single time, of course, but usually you're going to hear this. I think that it's important to review that it's important to, okay? It's not that. And you can show them what the dictionary does, okay? The dictionary shows you this stuff. It says weak or strong form, weak form, So you have all kinds of opportunities to touch upon pronunciation and show them that it's not all just about sounding like a native speaker. It's about understanding native speakers, right? Studying pronunciation will help you with your listening and speaking, both. And let's face it, this is the fun part of language learning. We give our students a page full of reading text, this 1,000-word text, and then comprehension questions with it. And then there's like a vocab review at the end, just white page with black characters on it. That's it, sit and study. look words up in a dictionary and stuff like that. This is the fun part. This is the fun part. Today was so much fun. When we did this, I added this later on after class. When we did this, I was like, look, that some students in the back, they were looking at me like, that they're doing the same thing. It was so much fun. I think that it's, and this is from my class, this is from last week. We were doing second conditionals with my intermediates, second conditionals. And this was the question the book asked, right? If you were an animal, what would you be? And then one of my students said, if I were an animal, I would be an eagle. Just like this, right? If I were an animal, I would be an eagle. Beautiful. Just perfectly answered. Nothing wrong with the vocabulary and grammar, right? But it's just a great opportunity. By the way, she's not pronouncing anything incorrectly, but it's such a beautiful opportunity for me to tell her that it's, if I were an animal, this is what native speakers do. They put 3 words together and it's one word now. And then we say, they speak fast. I don't understand them. What's word animal? What's word animal? Right? Or be an eagle. Be an eagle. If I were an animal, I'd be an eagle. That's how they talk. Right? I'm not exaggerating anything right now. I'm just being supernatural right now. If I were an animal, I'd be an eagle. That's how they talk, right? Just a great opportunity to tell them, guys, native speakers, they put words together. You know? Ulama, just like the ulama. Like Necmettin Anıl Albağlar, right? The same thing. We're an animal, right? If I were an animal, I'd be an eagle. You get all these opportunities, right? And then you teach them chunking and intonation. Let me go back for a second, excuse me. I taught them intonation here too. You can't do if clauses and not teach intonation. Intonation is very important. You got to go up, down, right? Every statement, negative or positive, they end downward, in a downward fashion, right? But if you want to go down, first you need to go up, usually. So if you have a conditional statement, you'd go, if I were an animal, I'd be an eagle. If I were an animal, I'd be an eagle, right? You show them intonation, not only with if, by the way, not only with conditionals, it's with all the sentences with multiple clauses. When you called me, I was sleeping, right? When you called me, I was sleeping. Or I was sleeping when you called me. And then you go down. You know, you got to go down at the end. But if you want to do that, you got to go up first. So you need music in your speech. And these are just beautiful examples to show that to your students. And then you teach chunking. This was a good example of chunking as well, by the way, when I say, if I were an animal, I'd be an eagle. Chunk number 1, chunk number 2. Use it together. Don't stop, don't pause. It's like one word. If I were an animal, I'd be an eagle, right? But it's not always this easy, this short. Sometimes it's longer. So you teach them stuff like this. There are so many rules in the animal kingdom, but you see how I'm leaving it up? There are so many rules in the animal kingdom, but perhaps the most commonly known one is that the lion is the king of the jungle. And I go down, right? But here I went up because I'm not done. I'm teaching them intonation, but I'm also teaching them chunking. Guys, you have to say this in one breath, right? There are so many rules in the animal kingdom, but perhaps the most commonly known one is that the lion is the king of the jungle, right? Is the king of the jungle. That's a chunk right there, okay? You teach them chunking, intonation, and pronunciation all at once. Look at this. I taught them pronunciation, I taught them intonation, and I taught them chunking, right? These are speaking related skills that we need to touch upon whenever we have the chance, and we have all kinds of chances, all kinds of opportunities, in grammar and vocabulary especially. Every grammar has its pronunciation. Here are some examples. I'm wrapping up very soon. We're done. Past simple, you teach them past simple, you got to teach them was, were, right? You teach them that, and then your student comes to class one day after an absent day, comes back, you're like, hey, Ali, you're back. You okay? Is everything okay? You weren't in class yesterday. And then they say, yeah, hocam, I was sick. You hear that from them, you just want to cry out of happiness. You hear that from I was sick was. You hear like I was like, he was like, you know, you're like, oh my God, I taught them that. And then things like did you, right? Did you, I made you some coffee, stuff like that, those sounds. And then ed, right? You say visited, wanted, needed. But other than that, or decided, but other than that, you just say pushed, looked, kissed, touched, jumped, right? Just usually you teach them that, because normally they just say watch it. I watch it TV. A lot of times I hear stuff like that. In the perfect tenses, you gotta teach them this. Of. And then with the perfect modals, should've, could've. What are you doing, man? You could have killed me. Coulda, right? I've never been there. Of. Not even I've. No, just of. I've been there. Yeah, I know. I've been there. Right? It has, she's never talked to me today. Right? Give them examples. Teach them these little things. The ing pronunciation I told you before. Ing. What are you doing? You gotta just do drills. And come on, guys, say it with me. Going. What are you doing? Right? Modal verbs. Can, should, could. If you're teaching should, could, would, if you're not telling your students that L is silent, you're not doing your job. I'm just gonna say it. All right? You gotta tell them the L is silent. But of course, first you gotta know it. And then if you know it, that's great. And then you tell your students it's should, could, would, right? And they have their weak forms. Should, could, would. Okay? Oh my God, I should have known. Shoulda. I should have known. Right? All kinds of grammar has pronunciation bits that needs to be taught. And then you teach intonation with yes, no questions, you go up. Would you like some coffee? And then with information questions, you go down. What do you want? Right? What time did you get home last night? What time did you get home last night? You go down with information questions. And then again, intonation and chunking with longer statements, the one we just looked at, the king of the jungle, blah, blah, you know. And you teach syllable and word stress, commonly mispronounced. Here's a good example. Everybody says exam, develop, recognize, and determine, right? Oh my God. Let's fix this real quick. So you teach them the correct pronunciation of these commonly mispronounced words. Plus, this is a great opportunity to touch upon word stress, syllable, not word stress here, but syllable stress, right? Exam, develop, recognize, determine, right? You teach them syllable stress, you share the screen real quick, you show them in a dictionary how they can see the stress in terms of the phonetic IPA. Yeah, great opportunities. There's great opportunities to, but you know, you got to start, I just want to remind you, you got to start all this early. Okay? This will be your thing. This should be a thing. One of the things that you always do. Just like walking into class and doing a reading text, teaching grammar, doing vocabulary. Okay? Speaking of which, when you teach vocabulary, you gotta teach them the pronunciation as well, of course, whether directly or indirectly. You know, some words are challenging, so you can help them with those at least. These are my final remarks. I think this is the fun part, and we should not deprive our students of all that. Well, thank you so much for listening. I think I've taken a good hour of your lives right now. Here I am waiting for your questions and comments. Hierarchically.
Now we can move on to Q&A session.
What is on? You know, I do a jump. I just saw a message there. the pronunciation of the, like they, there. I just don't think that it's something that we should go crazy about. It is very similar to Denizli'nin D'si, right? They, this is, I just don't think that's something that, I mean, we should teach it, don't get me wrong, but it's usually okay. It is a problem when they say tree instead of three. I think that, because that could cause misunderstandings. This is usually okay. Thank you so much for the nice comments. Now, let's see, interdentals, yeah. Out of the box ideas for mixed level speaking clubs. You know what? I cheat. I just use ChatGPT. It gives you great ideas. Seriously, great ideas. Thank you so much, guys. Let me see. Any questions I'm missing? Pronunciation is important and necessary. If you pronounce law making as love making, it can cause a disaster. No problem. Oh my god, thank you so much. You guys are so nice. I haven't done anything. Oh my god. Okay, next stop, TED Talk. Do you think I'm ready? Vishal Hocam, thank you so much. Am I missing anything, guys? Oh, okay, yeah. Besultan?
It's Bek Sultan.
Bek Sultan, really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, hocam.
Yeah.
Hocam, I had a question. So, hocam, sometimes, like, as I previously mentioned, and I do condemn English for being so hard in pronunciation matters. For me, I feel like when I was learning English, starting from my primary school, we didn't focus on pronunciation, and I feel like it just smoothly transitioned, so it wasn't didactically taught. And I was wondering whether this is a possibility for the students to acquire it over a long period of time, although it might not be as efficient as straight up teaching how to pronounce a certain word.
No, I think that's what basically I want to say here, though. I think that it should start day one. By the way, I mean, we can sit here and criticize the education system all night, why don't we start early when we're 6 years old? At least 10 hours a week, every day, couple hours, we teach them songs, games, so they get the pronunciation from native speakers through those songs and everything, of course. But, to save the day, at the Department of Basic English, for example, somebody, at the age of 18 comes to college, and then there, what we should do is start this stuff off at the very beginning of the year, and then at least they will have a good 8-9 months to really have a grasp of all the sounds and have the opportunity to practice them in class. This isn't I can just have 1,000 people here and talk about all the challenging sounds in English and look at a list of 100 words that are commonly mispronounced, and then thank you very much for coming here, have a good night, and they have nothing. They had a good time, maybe they're like, oh my god, so interesting, ooh, he knows his stuff, okay, thank you so much, Ajam, great presentation, they leave. That's not what we need here. We need good teaching practice. We need our teachers to start doing this stuff day one. Yeah, that's what we need. Hocam, please, one more session soon. On what? I think someone else's hand was up in the air. Go ahead and start talking. It's okay. Adil, was it?
Yes, Hocam, it was me. I was going to tell you one of the chronic mistakes that happen in my class, hocam. But you've already mentioned as well. It's the point of the the point of the Zoom session is not to mention the mistakes. It's more on how we can build our pronunciation and how we can integrate different activities into our classroom. But being in Turkey for 11 years, or Türkiye for 11 years, hocam, we commonly mispronounced two words, V and W. So anything in
Like the
English
letters, you mean? Yeah, yeah.
that's right, hocam. So anything in English that starts with the letter W, we pronounce it with a V.
Yeah.
And if it starts with a V, we pronounce it with a W. And I always make a joke out of it saying this is not Volkswagen. V is V. W is something different that we don't have in Turkish. So we use bilabel to do that. And I always give them the example. Pretend you're kissing your dede's hand for 200 TL. So you really want to get the lips nice and round, you know? So that was an inside joke I do.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a sound. That's a challenging sound because we just don't have that in our repertoire, unless somebody teaches us. You know, that's a good one. That's a good one. Nice, fun way of attracting attention to the difference. Yeah. What else? Anything else? Thank you so much. Yasemin hocam.
Hello, hocam. Thank you very much indeed for this nice talk. And we would be happy to see you teach at METU FLE again, in the very near future. So my question is, when you talked about these very nice, engaging activities about the company, Turkish company, or the Turkish restaurant, or very great ideas. But the thing I remember from teaching at the prep program earlier, like 15 years ago, when I really had a lot of communicative, engaging activities, then when you had to go back to the textbook, students were really, hocam, we don't want to do the course book again. So they were always expecting you to do, those engaging activities. So what do you do with that, when after doing these great activities, how do you get back to the serious stuff?
God, you're so right. You're so right. You've taken them up to the climax. They've had fun. It's almost outside the textbook, You've added a little twist. It was great. What do you do then? I think one thing, and I always do this. This is something I always do, by the way. An activity like that is always to finish off that particular hour, if not to finish off the day. And then after that 10-minute break, I think it's all right to get back to something else. But if you do something super fun and then continue that class hour, that might be challenging, like you said. And I have no immediate response to that right now. Like, what would I do? All right, guys, thank you so much. That was great. Maybe a round of applause. Thank you so much. All right, let's settle down. Let's get back to the textbook here. With your energy, try to sell that maybe like one final burst of energy, physical one, and then maybe get back to what we were doing. Would be a nice idea, I guess, because like I said, nothing else comes to mind right now. But I think it's a good idea to do those until the end of the, you do your, like the textbook here, you watch the video, you look at the key language, and then you start the production, and you finish off your, and this is textbook speaking lesson. You do the last 15, 20 semi-controlled or just free speaking, and then you finish it off. And then hopefully after the 10-minute break, they come back and they will be okay to do the more boring stuff. That's a great question. Yeah.
And one more comment.
Yeah,
Hocam,
sure.
Thank you for your
No
answer.
problem.
I know it's a difficult question.
Oh, yeah.
The weak forms and the strong forms, when you teach about them, students are enlightened Oh,
Yes.
really? Is there a weak form and a strong form? Really? Is that why I can't really follow native speaker speech? So when you see that they're enlightened, you cannot do away with pronunciation or intonation, you know. You have to do it so that they can understand this fluent, fast native speaker speech. They don't have to necessarily talk like native speakers do, but
Yeah.
in order to follow that speech, yani it's necessary. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And you know, like talking about the commonly mispronounced words, like guys, it's not exam, it's exam. Whatever. That's just, you know, they can even look that up themselves, but weak forms, it's a whole different business, you know, and it's so much fun. And there's God knows how many words that are pronounced in their weak forms like that. And a lot of people don't really like. They were very surprised when I told them about he, him, her. They lose the H because usually when we say weak forms, we think of schwa instead of the actual sound in that word. But yeah, it is super interesting, and it is what they need. Like I said, you know, pronunciation of a particular word, they can just deal with that on their own too. But weak forms is a whole different thing, and likewise, intonation and chunking. You know, like putting words together. How do we say ulama in English? Just putting words together, or like if I were an animal. What is it?
Linking.
Yeah, we could say that, I guess. Yeah. How they link words, we should really draw our students' attention to those, I think. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. As a prep school student, I really enjoyed this presentation. Thank you. Hey, thank you for being here. Emre Khan?
Hocam, by the way,
yes.
We may take the last question since we ran out of time.
All right. You're the moderator. You're the boss. Yes, Emre Khan Najar.
Yes, hello, thank you. I'm a fourth-year student, so that means I also go to the schools as an intern teacher. Last week we conducted a speaking exam, and I observed that almost all the students had an innate hesitancy for speaking. I even heard some of the students say these exact words, like they are going to shame us in front of everybody, in front of every class, in front of the class. So, what's your ideas on dealing with the students who has this much of an internalized fear of speaking?
First of all, the problem is they were educated that way. That's the problem. They were raised that way. They didn't have enough speaking practice, obviously, like no one does. And then what can be done after that time is basically just make up for the loss of time. You know, start doing things the way they should be done. Have more hours of English. First of all, that. You can't do 4 hours, 2 hours, 4 is it? I think it's 4. 4 hours of English a week, and then expect to add little pronunciation and intonation, the speaking practice in there. That's not going to work, right? So just have more hours of English, and then you will start having more opportunities to have your students speak freely, just feedback free speaking. How was your weekend? They need it so much. Oh my God, they need it so much. They explode. I just tell them, what are you doing this weekend at the end of a Friday? They just talk and talk and talk. You know, that's what we should do. That's what we should do. And all the other stuff that I talked about today, you know, just bits and pieces, pronunciation and intonation, and, you know, start all of that. That's what you do. What do you do? I mean, you can just go talk to those kids. You can be like, look, I understand that this is how things have been for you so far, but trust me, this is a different language. And of course, there are all kinds of things you can say to encourage a shy student. Things like, you know, if a person speaks with an accent, a thick accent in a language, you should not judge them because that means they speak another language fluently. So, you know, if you're speaking English with an accent, that means you're actually a very cool person because you speak another language. You could just sit here and come up with lots of things to say to people, to encourage them. But at the end of the day, those are just words. Actions speak louder than words. Thank you so much. Like that would be the perfect ending. So we should just start having more hours of English in our schools. Yeah. If I'm the Minister for Education one day, I'll change that.
Thank you once again, Anıl Hocam. It wasn't heard because of the internet connection, I guess, at first. So I want to thank you again.
You're right. This is the first time you're thanking me for the presentation. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, it was because of the internet connection. It was a great pleasure to listen to. And so also, thank you to all our attendants today. So we look forward to seeing you at our next talk. Stay safe and take care.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and sticking until the end. That made me so happy. Thank you. Appreciate it. I realize I'm not a researcher per se. I'm a teacher, really, you know, active in classes, teaching day in and out. And this is what I have, you know. But I think it's been fun. I'm happy with what I did here.
Has been, and before leaving, Hocam, we have a tradition. So if you're available, everyone, if you can turn on your cameras, we'd like to take a screenshot of the session. So
okay, I'll just remove the spotlight. I guess. Okay. All right.
Okay. So
I'm just smiling.
Okay, Hocam. In
Did
3,
I keep smiling like this?
2, and 1. Thank you very much, Hocam. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Oh my God, so many people with their cameras on. Thank you for being here. Okay, all right.
Thank you once again, Hocam, and see you in the next.
Have a good night. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.